Hello. God, that was almost enthusiastic. So you know I said I didn't get an exciting Tomcat sortie. As it turns out, all I needed to do was wait a day. I definitely think luck was on my side as there was only one space def active at the time, so I had like free reign over other mortal jets. For this sortie I'm bringing out 6 Sparrows and only 2 Sidewinders, more of like a BVR loadout if you will. I'm usually against heavier loadouts like this, but after trying it for a couple of times, I found the jet was fast enough. It was easy enough to get over Mach and still make the missiles dangerous. Also, I have been shooting off more than one Sparrow in like a Fox 1 Joust, so taking more could prolong my combat readiness for subsequent fights. I decided to be lazy and take off from the taxiway, as taxiing an extra like 3 feet wasn't on the agenda for me. There was no other jets around, so as far as I'm concerned, no harm done. Not too long after taking off, I see a 2-ship F-16 approaching. The F-16 we have in DCS can't fire the Sparrow missile, and this being a Fox 1 server, the AMRAM it usually uses for BVR is banned. Often in a Fox 1 setting, taking a 2v1 is like a death sentence, but considering they only have Sidewinders, I have a really large head-on range advantage. This is still pretty risky, as I can't effectively engage 2 at once, so I'm kind of praying that if I spam enough flares and kill one before we merge, I might still stand a chance. So my initial plan is to fire the Sparrow at quite close range. In doing this, I'm hoping it's going to give him less time to react, and it might also set me up for a sneaky Sidewinder shot.
Missile launch, 12 o'clock, hot, break right. Missile, 12 o'clock, hot, break right.
I start throwing some shapes to hopefully fool any Sidewinders that have been shot at me, while also prepping my own Sidewinder to fire.
Bandit, 11 o'clock low, 2 miles. Okay, that's really fast now. There's a bogey, 5 o'clock, 1 mile. Bandit.
My AIM-9 finds its target and splashes the first F-16, while his wingman pulls towards my 6. I start cutting throttle and then pulling hard into the vertical to bleed off speed. I need to do this as the Tomcat's air brake doesn't fully extend until you decrease your speed to around 400 knots. At this point I've actually lost visual on him. Luckily for me he starts spamming flares, so I pick him up again pretty quickly. He fires a Sidewinder but it's too far off bore and it fails to pull. I can see he's rather slow, so I go back up into the vertical where he'll struggle to follow me.
5 o'clock low, speed 310. And that's 230. 12 o'clock low, 250 knots.
I obtain a radar lock and then fire off a super close range Sidewinder.
Speed 390. Flash!
I gave him a little bit of Vulcan as well, just in case he flared off that AIM-9. After fighting the Vipers, I needed to land as I managed to run out of flares. So I pressed my countermeasures hat 60 times while fighting those 2 F-16s, which I think is an achievement within itself.
That was a nice landing, good job.
And I also wanted to include the fact that Jester just said I made a nice landing, so, you know. I'm back up again, but with a change of loadout. 4 Sparrows along with 4 Winders, my usual setup. Here we have a space 3-sided shape chasing down a Strigel. I'm hoping that the Delta dickhead will be unaware of my presence, and I'm able to get him while he's still tunnel visioned on the Strigel.
We have a friendly, 8 o'clock, 4 miles. Target, 13 miles. Okay, let's do this.
I see a missile trail off in the distance, but the missile is either not for me or he broke lock prematurely, which allows me to push in uncontested. After seeing him turn away like that, I know he has defeated my first Sparrow. Making sure that my ACM cover is up, I plan on firing again at closer range.
Target, 5 miles.
I also follow this up with a Sidewinder, as I really can't be asked to fucking merge with this French pointy thing.
Bandit is going down.
Currently, I've got an Su-27 hard locking me from the front. The R-27 ERs it usually gets are not allowed in this server, as they are just stupidly ridiculous. So he's having to make do with just the standard R-27. At higher altitudes, my Sparrows for the most part have the advantage. They have a much longer burn time, meaning when a target starts defending, it will lose less speed, assuming that the missile still has fuel. I was surprised he launched that early. I wait for a couple of seconds and then return fire. I keep my maximum descent angle at only 15 degrees. This makes the radar lock a bit more reliable.
Missile, 1 o'clock. Hot, break left.
I prepare to launch my next Sparrow by flipping the ACM cover up. This disables lofting, so it takes a more direct trajectory towards him.
Hot, break right. Missile launch, 1 o'clock. Hot, break right.
Just before my AIM-7 impacts the flanker, he manages to get off an R-73. By performing a barrel roll and spamming off flares, gives you the best chance of just not eating it. Looking back at that, I could have backed up the AIM-7 with a Sidewinder, just because the AIM-7's probability of kill isn't the greatest. Also, as you saw by the slow-mo footage, I could have been a bit more proactive in my cranking, as I very nearly did cop that R-27 to the face. After resetting south for a little while, there are two F-16s in pursuit. It may very well be the same pair from earlier. So dealing with the Starship Triangulars and the flanker has left me with no Sparrows. This could call for a bit of sneaking. There are some mountains to my left, and maybe the two Vipers will separate. I could then pop up from underneath and attack from below, or at least that's the plan.
Okay. Okay.
Looking at the EWR reports, I saw that the Vipers did indeed separate. I then came out of hiding to engage the closest one.
He's locked. Target, 12 miles. Here we go. Missile launch, 12 o'clock. Hot.
I was quite surprised that the Viper managed to shoot a Sidewinder at me at such great distance without locking me with his radar. I then realised that TWS did in fact exist and that it actually works on the F-16.
Target, 3 miles. And that's 400.
We both flare off each other's winders and make it to the merge. I'm entering this fight slow. I'm already at corner speed, so easily able to turn inside his circle.
12 o'clock. 1 o'clock high.
I am now below 250 knots, so I'm able to use the flaps to help me complete my loop. This Viper doesn't really help himself out, as he reverses his turn in front of a Tomcat that has his flaps down. While I am able to get a sidewinder shot off here, I didn't pull sufficient lead, so the missile missed. I wanted to go for guns then, but underestimated how slow that Viper was. With that being said, him being that slow opens up an option for me to go vertical, a manoeuvre he just can't follow as he's pretty much stalling out at this point.
Showing 170. 12 o'clock low. 200. 12 o'clock low. There's 270.
After hearing Jester just called out 270 knots speed, I realised that my flaps are jammed, so I'm pretty much full sending at this point.
200. 290.
I was debating taking a sidewinder shot here. Considering how close we are, I decided to go for guns.
12 o'clock low.
And getting a gun kill on Tempest is not all that common, so you better take it while you can. My F-14 is now officially turned into a vibrator due to the fact that my flaps are jammed, so it's going to be a very painful flight back to base.